The dog moved first. Not Owen. Not the brother who'd survived 8 years of war. Not the Marine who'd been trained to read threats and neutralize them. Max launched between them before Rick's fist could finish traveling. 60 pounds of muscle and fury teeth bared a growl that came from somewhere primal. Rick stumbled back. Jesus Christ. Down. Owen's voice cut through the kitchen. Max, down. The shepherd dropped to his haunches, but didn't retreat. His eyes stayed locked on Rick, like a targeting system. Maria Carter's coffee cup hit the table. What the hell is wrong with that animal? Nothing's wrong with him. Owen kept his hand on Max's collar. He's doing his job. His job? Rick's face was red, whether from rage or embarrassment, Owen couldn't tell. His job is to attack family. His job is to protect me, even from family, especially from family. The silence hung there like smoke after a grenade. Rick's laugh came out too loud, too sharp. 5 minutes. You've been home 5 goddamn minutes and you're already starting fights. You took a swing at me. I was gesturing. You made a fist. Boys. Maria's voice cracked like a whip. Enough. Owen felt Max tense under his hand. The dog had read the room faster than any of them. Calculated threats, measured distances, decided who needed watching. Rick topped the list. Mom asked you to come home because we need help. Rick's voice had shifted, gone careful and controlled. Not because we wanted a reunion. Business. That's all this is. What kind of business? The paying kind. I've got a construction company. Small operation but steady. And I'm down a man. Owen looked at his mother. She wouldn't meet his eyes. You want me to work for you? I want you to work. Period. Rick pulled a beer from the fridge, cracked it open. Unless you'd rather sleep in your truck and live off VA checks. I don't have a truck. Then I guess you really do need this job. Rick took a long pull from the bottle. 6 a.m. tomorrow, South Lot past the old Halstead place. Don't be late. Owen's hands were shaking. Not the obvious kind, the kind other people noticed. The internal kind, the tremor that started in his chest and worked its way out through his fingers. Max pressed against his leg, warm and solid, and the shaking slowed. What's the pay? Rick named a number that was insultingly low. Owen named one higher. You're not exactly in a position to negotiate, little brother. Then I'm not exactly in a position to work for you. Owen turned toward the door. Come on, Max. Wait. Maria's voice stopped him. Rick, pay him what he asked. Mom. Pay him. She finally looked at Owen and her eyes were different than he remembered. Harder. More worn. He came all this way. The least we can do is pay him fairly. Rick's jaw worked like he was chewing glass. Fine, but you earn it. No special treatment because you wore a uniform. Wouldn't dream of it. Owen walked out before anyone could say anything else. Max trotted beside him, tail high, satisfied with his work. Outside, the Nevada heat hit like a physical blow. Owen pulled his phone out, checked the balance on his account. $347. That was it. That was everything he had left after the bus ticket and the vet bill in Dallas when Max had eaten something that didn't agree with him. We're broke, buddy. He scratched the dog's ears. Completely, totally broke. Max's tail wagged once, slow and deliberate. Money didn't mean much to him. Food, water, and Owen, that was the whole world. The phone buzzed. A text from Rick Trailers at the site. Key under the mat. Waterworks, AC doesn't. Welcome home. Owen read it twice, then pocketed the phone. Looks like we're camping, boy. They walked. Owen had forgotten how spread out everything was in Redding. How you could walk for 20 minutes and pass maybe 3 houses, all of them set back from the road like they were trying to hide. The sun hammered down, turning the asphalt soft, and by the time they reached the construction site, Owen's shirt was soaked through. The trailer sat in the shadow of an unfinished storage facility, 17 units in various stages of completion. Rick's F-350 was parked near the office trailer, but the site was empty. 5 p.m. on a Friday. Everyone gone. Owen found the key, opened the door, and immediately regretted it. The heat inside was biblical. 120, maybe more. The kind of heat that made you wonder if spontaneous combustion was a real thing. Max took 3 steps inside and immediately turned around. "Yeah, I know." Owen propped the door open, found the fan Rick had mentioned, a sad little box fan that wheezed like it had emphysema, and pointed it at the bed. Then he stripped down to his shorts and lay on top of the sleeping bag, staring at the rust-stained ceiling. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a number he didn't recognize. "You made it. Proud of you. Call me when you can." Sam. Sam Hollis. His old platoon sergeant, the one who'd gotten him the dog in the first place. The one who'd made Owen promise to call if things got bad. Owen typed back, "Made it. It's complicated. We'll call soon." He set the phone down and closed his eyes. But sleep wouldn't come. Too hot. Too many thoughts. Too much weight in his chest that felt like it might cave in his ribs. Max jumped onto the bed without asking permission, which meant the thin mattress now supported 220 pounds of man and dog. The springs screamed in protest. "You're too big for this." Max's response was to drape himself across Owen's legs. "Fine, but if this bed collapses, you're explaining it to Rick." Somewhere outside, a coyote howled. Max's ears perked up, but he didn't move. Good dog, smart dog. Dog who knew when to fight and when to ignore the noise. Owen must have dozed off because the next thing he knew his phone was buzzing, and the light outside had shifted to that ugly orange that meant sunset was close. Rick's name on the screen. Owen let it ring 4 times before answering. "Yeah." "Change of plans. Need you tonight." "Tonight?" "Emergency job. Good money. Meet me at the site in 20 minutes. "Rick, 20 minutes, Owen. And bring the dog. We might need him." The line went dead. Owen sat up, head pounding, mouth tasting like copper and dust. Max was already on his feet, reading the tension in Owen's body. "Something's wrong." The dog's ears swiveled forward. "I know. I feel it too." But Owen got dressed anyway, pulled on his boots, and walked out into the cooling desert air with his dog beside him, and a feeling in his gut that said this was a mistake. Rick's truck appeared exactly 20 minutes later, headlights cutting through the dusk. Carlos was in the passenger seat, and another man Owen didn't recognize sat in the back. Rick rolled down the window. "Get in." "Where are we going?" "I'll explain on the way. Come on, we're burning daylight." Owen climbed into the bed of the truck, Max beside him. The unknown man, young, maybe mid-20s, with the kind of face that said he'd never been punched hard enough to learn caution, stared at them. "That dog safe. Safer than you." The truck lurched forward before anyone could respond. They drove for 40 minutes, heading north into the high desert, where the land went from brown to black, and the temperature dropped 20 degrees. Rick didn't talk, didn't explain, just drove with the kind of focus that made Owen's instincts scream. Finally, they pulled off the main road onto a dirt track that led into a canyon. Rick killed the engine. "All right, listen up." The 4 of them gathered at the tailgate. Rick pulled out a map, spread it on the truck bed. "There's a herd of wild Mustangs about 2 miles northeast. Bureau of Land Management's been trying to round them up for months. Rancher named Patterson's offering $5,000 to anyone who can bring in 10 horses. Owen's stomach went cold. "That's illegal." "It's a gray area." "It's federal land. Those horses are protected." Rick's expression hardened. "You want to work, or you want to lecture me on legality?" "I want to know what I'm actually doing." "You're helping me catch horses. That's it. We herd them into Patterson's Canyon. He takes it from there, we get paid." Rick folded the map. $5,000 split 4 ways. You in or out?" Carlos wouldn't look at Owen. The young guy was nodding, eager. Max growled low and steady. "Out." Owen backed away from the truck. "This is poaching, Rick. I'm not doing it." "Fine." Rick's voice went flat, cold. "Carlos, give me his cut." "What?" "His share. He's out, which means more for us. But he still gets a taste for showing up." Rick pulled out a roll of bills, counted off 300s, held them out. Here, consider it severance. Owen stared at the money. $300. Enough to eat for a week. Enough to buy Max's food, and maybe fix the AC in the trailer. His hand was reaching for it before he realized what he was doing. Then Max barked sharp, urgent, the sound he made when something was very wrong. Owen's hand stopped. Keep it. Don't be stupid. I said keep it. Owen backed toward the road. Come on, Max. You're 40 miles from town. Rick's voice carried a note of something that might have been satisfaction. No phone service out here, no water. You planning to walk? If I have to. Rick's smile was thin and mean. Always the hero, even when nobody's watching. He climbed back into the truck, started the engine. Good luck getting home, little brother. The F-350 pulled away, taillights disappearing around the canyon wall, and Owen stood there in the gathering dark with his dog and his principles, and absolutely no plan. Well, he looked down at Max. This is bad. The dog wagged his tail once like this was just another adventure. You're way too optimistic. Owen pulled out his phone. No signal, just like Rick said. He checked his water, half a bottle, maybe 12 ounces. Not enough. Not nearly enough. The temperature was dropping fast. In 2 hours it'd be near freezing. And 40 miles was a long walk in the dark. We need to move. But which direction? Back toward the main road. Deeper into the canyon, where there might be water. Every choice felt wrong. Max nosed his hand, then started walking not back toward the road, but perpendicular to it, heading east along the canyon rim. Max, wait. The dog looked back, tail wagging, then continued on. Owen had two choices: trust his own judgment or trust the dog. He followed the dog. They walked for an hour, maybe 2. Time got weird in the desert. Dark, stretched and compressed, became meaningless. Owen's legs burned. His throat felt like sandpaper. The half bottle of water was long gone. Max kept walking, nose down, following something Owen couldn't see or smell. The dog was tireless, focused, moving with purpose. You better know where you're going, buddy. At some point, Owen's vision started to tunnel. At some point after that, he stumbled, went down on one knee. Max was there, instantly pressing against him, whining, I'm okay. I'm okay. But he wasn't okay. He was dehydrated and exhausted, and somewhere between fury and despair. And if he didn't find water soon, this whole stupid homecoming was going to end with him dying in a canyon because his brother was a criminal and he was too proud to take dirty money. Max barked, urgent, insistent. Owen forced himself to stand to keep moving, and then he saw it, a fence line cutting across the canyon. Where there was a fence, there was property. Where there was property, there was maybe water. Good boy. Good boy, Max. They reached the fence. Owen grabbed the post, clung to it, felt the world spin. Max barked again, louder this time, sustained. Somewhere in the distance a light came on. Owen tried to call out, but his throat wouldn't work, so he just held on to that fence post and waited to see if the light meant rescue or more trouble. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. A flashlight beam hit his face. Jesus. A man's voice, rough with age and cigarettes. How long you been out here? Don't know. Owen's voice came out like gravel. Hours. The light moved to Max, who sat perfectly still, watching. That your dog? Yeah. He saved your life. Owen managed a laugh that hurt his throat. Pretty much. Come on then. The man, Owen couldn't see his face behind the flashlight, reached down, hauled Owen to his feet with surprising strength. Got water at the house. Got coffee too if you want it. Who are you? Sam Hollis. I run this ranch. The flashlight swung toward a building Owen hadn't noticed. Who are you? Owen's brain took a second to process the name. Sam Hollis. The same Sam who'd texted him. The same Sam from his old unit. Owen Carter. The flashlight stopped moving. Carter, Owen Carter from 2nd Battalion. Yeah. Well, I'll be damned. Sam's laugh was warm and genuine. Small world, Marine. Come on, let's get you inside before you die on my property and make me do paperwork. The house was small, clean, and blessedly cool. Sam sat Owen at the kitchen table, put a glass of water in front of him, and told him not to chug it. Owen sipped slowly while Max drank from a bowl on the floor. So, Sam sat across from him, studying Owen with eyes that missed nothing. Want to tell me why you're stumbling around my canyon at midnight? Owen told him. Not everything, not the blueprint sabotage or the family dynamics, but enough. The job offer, the poaching, the refusal, the long walk. Sam listened without interrupting, his weathered face expressionless. When Owen finished, Sam was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Your brother's Rick Carter." "Yeah, you know him." "Know of him. He's got a reputation. Not a good one." Sam refilled Owen's water glass. "You need a place to stay. I've got the trailer at his site." "That's not what I asked." Owen met his eyes. "I don't take charity." "Good. I'm not offering it. I'm offering work." Sam leaned back in his chair. "I run wild horses. Rescue them from BLM roundups, rehab them, find them homes. It's hard work, long hours, and the pay's not great. But it's legal, and you'd have a roof over your head." "Why would you offer me that?" "Because your dog's smart enough to find water in the dark, which means you're smart enough to listen to him. And because any man who turns down easy money for doing the wrong thing is the kind of man I can trust." Sam's smile was slight. "Plus, you're a Marine, and Marines don't quit." Owen felt something in his chest loosen. "When do I start?" "You already did. Finish that water, get some sleep, and tomorrow I'll show you the operation." Sam showed him to a small room, barely more than a closet, but it had a bed and a fan and a window that opened. Max jumped on the bed, immediately claimed half of it. Owen lay down, felt exhaustion crash over him like a wave. His phone buzzed. Service was back. 7 missed calls from Rick, 3 voicemails. Owen deleted them without listening. Then he texted his mother. "Found work. Won't be coming back to the site. Tell Rick I'm done." Her response came immediately. "Owen, please don't do this. He needs you." Owen stared at the message for a long time. Then he typed, "He left me in the desert. Mom, he chose to leave me there. I'm done choosing him over myself." He turned off the phone and closed his eyes. Max's breathing was steady and calm, the sound of something certain and unafraid. For the first time since the bus had pulled into Reading, Owen felt like maybe he could survive this. Morning came too early. Sam knocked at 5 a.m., already dressed, coffee in hand. Up. Got work. The ranch was bigger than Owen had realized, in the dark 40 acres of canyon land, with corrals and pastures scattered across the property. A dozen horses stood in various pens, some calm, some skittish. They come in all conditions. Sam handed Owen a pair of work gloves. Some are half wild, never been handled. Some are old, broke down, heading for slaughter when I pull them. Your job is to help me gentle them, get them healthy enough to adopt out. I don't know anything about horses. You know about trauma. You know about patience. That's enough. Sam pointed to a bay mare in the nearest corral. Start there. Just sit with her. Don't touch, don't talk. Just be present. That's it? That's everything. Owen climbed into the corral. The mare, spooked, ran to the far side, nostrils flaring. Owen sat down in the dirt and waited. Max lay down beside him, relaxed and calm. An hour passed, then another. The mare watched them, tense and ready to bolt. Owen didn't move. At some point, Sam appeared at the fence. Good, you're patient. She hasn't come near me. She's watching you. That's the first step. By noon, Owen's legs were numb and his back ached. The mare had moved closer, not much, maybe 10 feet, but closer. Sam brought lunch, watched Owen work in silence. Your brother called this morning, Sam said finally. Owen's hands stilled on his sandwich. Wanted to know if I'd seen you. I told him I hadn't. Sam's expression was neutral. That was a lie. I don't like lying, but I like the idea of sending you back to him even less. He'll figure it out eventually. Probably. But by then, maybe you'll be strong enough not to care. That night, Owen's phone rang. Rick's name on the screen. He answered. What? You're at Hollis's ranch. Not a question. Yeah. Working for him. Yeah. Rick's laugh was bitter. You always did have to be the good guy, even when it costs you. What do you want, Rick? Silence. Then, I need your help. No. You don't even know what I'm asking. I don't care. The answer's no. Owen, I'm in trouble. Real trouble. The kind that ends badly if I don't fix it. That's not my problem. It will be when they come looking for you. Owen's blood went cold. What does that mean? It means I owe money to people who don't wait for payment. And when they can't find me, they'll look for family. Rick's voice had gone quiet, almost pleading. I'm trying to protect you. By leaving me in a canyon to die. That was I was angry. I didn't think. No, you didn't think. You never think. You just do whatever Rick wants and expect everyone else to clean up your mess. I'm your brother. You stopped being my brother the second you drove away. Owen's hand was shaking again. Max pressed against his leg. Don't call me again. He ended the call, blocked the number, and sat on the edge of the bed with his head in his hands. I did the right thing, he said to Max. Didn't I? The dog's tail thumped once against the floor. Then why does it feel so bad? Because family was supposed to mean something. Because blood was supposed to matter. Because some part of Owen still remembered when Rick had been different before the gambling, before the desperation, before everything had gone wrong. But that Rick was gone. Maybe he'd never really existed. The Rick who was left had driven away and left Owen to die. And Owen was done saving people who didn't want to be saved. He turned off the light and laid down, Max's weight settling across his legs. Outside, the desert wind picked up, rattling the window frame. And somewhere in the dark, Owen heard the sound of wild horses running free. 3 weeks passed before Owen saw his brother again. 3 weeks of fence repair and horse training, of learning to read animals the way he'd once read terrain. 3 weeks of Max herding mustangs with an intelligence that made Sam shake his head in disbelief. 3 weeks of sleeping through the night without checking corners first. Then Rick showed up at the ranch gate at dawn. Sam was already awake, coffee in hand, when the F-350 pulled up the drive. He appeared at Owen's door before Rick could get out of the truck. You want me to send him away? Owen pulled on his boots. No, I'll handle it. You sure? Not even a little bit. Max was already at the door, hackles raised, that low growl building in his chest. Rick stood by his truck, hands in his pockets, looking smaller somehow. Thinner, like something had been eating away at him from the inside. Nice place. Rick's voice had lost its edge. Hollis treating you right. Better than you did. Rick flinched. I deserve that. You deserve worse than that. Yeah, I know. Rick looked past Owen to where Sam stood on the porch watching. Can we talk just 5 minutes? Say what you need to say. Not here. Please. Rick's eyes were red-rimmed, desperate. 5 minutes. Then I'll leave you alone. I promise. Owen felt Sam's eyes on his back, felt Max tense against his leg. Every instinct said this was a trap, but something in Rick's face, something broken and afraid, made Owen nod. 5 minutes. Max comes with me. They walked to the far corral out of earshot. Rick leaned against the fence rail, staring at the horses. I'm sorry. The words came out quiet, almost lost in the morning air. For leaving you in that canyon. For the blueprint thing. For all of it. That's nice. Time's up. Wait. Rick grabbed Owen's arm, then immediately released it when Max snarled. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to listen. 2 minutes. Rick's laugh was hollow. I owe $47,000. To a guy named Castellano who runs a betting operation out of Carson City. I've got 2 weeks to pay him, or... He stopped, swallowed hard. Or he's going to make an example of me. Then pay him. With what I'm broke, Owen. Completely broke. The business is a front. I haven't had a legitimate contract in 6 months. The truck's leased, the equipment's rented, and I'm 3 months behind on everything. Owen felt nothing. No sympathy, no anger. Just empty. What do you want from me? There's a job. One job. Real money this time. 15 grand cash. We do it together, split it, and I can buy myself enough time to figure something out. What kind of job? Rick looked away. The kind I can't do alone. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I've got. Rick finally met his eyes. I know I don't deserve your help. I know I burned that bridge. But you're my brother and I'm drowning, and I don't have anyone else. You should have thought about that before you drove away. I think about it every day. Rick's voice cracked. Every single day, Owen. That's the worst part. Knowing I did that to you. Knowing what kind of person that makes me. Max whined low and uncertain. Even the dog could sense the shift. This wasn't the aggressive Rick, the mocking Rick. This was something else. Something damaged. What's the job? Hope flashed across Rick's face. Tracking wild Mustangs. For real this time. BLM contract. Legal, above board, everything documented. They need spotters to count herd sizes in the northern canyons. 2 days work, 7 grand each. If it's legal, why do you need me? Because Castellano's guys are watching me. If I disappear for 2 days without explanation, they'll think I'm running. But if I'm working a legitimate job with my Marine brother, they'll back off. Rick pulled out a paper, unfolded it. Official BLM letterhead, contract details, payment schedule. Look, it's real. Owen took the paper, studied it. It looked legitimate, official seals, case numbers, supervisor signatures. But he'd been fooled before. I need to think about it. I need an answer now. The job starts tomorrow. Then I guess you're out of luck. Rick's jaw tightened. You really hate me that much? I don't hate you at all, Rick. That's the problem. If I hated you, this would be easier. Owen handed back the contract. But I don't trust you, and I'm not making that mistake again. So that's it. You're just going to let me die. You're not going to die. You're going to face consequences for your choices. There's a difference. Rick's expression hardened. Fine, I tried. He pushed off the fence. When Castellano's guys show up here asking about me, remember you had a choice. Is that a threat? It's a warning. You're my brother. They know that. They know where you are. Rick started walking back toward his truck. But hey, at least you've got your principles. Hope they keep you warm at night. Owen watched him go, felt something ugly twist in his chest. Max pressed against his leg, grounding him. Sam appeared beside them. You okay? I don't know. He's lying. I know. But part of you wants to believe him anyway. Owen nodded. Sam was quiet for a long moment. My son was like your brother. Addict, gambler, liar. Spent 10 years trying to save him. His voice went rough. He died anyway. Overdose in a motel outside Reno. And you know what the worst part was? I was relieved. Because I could finally stop trying to fix something that didn't want to be fixed. How do you live with that? You accept that love doesn't always look like rescue. Sometimes it looks like letting go. Rick's truck disappeared down the drive, leaving dust in the air. Owen turned back toward the corrals where work waited, where horses needed gentling and fences needed mending, and life continued regardless of family drama. But the uneasy feeling stayed with him all day. That night, Owen sat on the porch with Max, watching stars appear in the darkening sky. His phone buzzed, his mother's number. He almost didn't answer. Owen, thank God. Maria's voice was frantic. Have you seen Rick? This morning. Why? He's missing. He left for that BLM job and he hasn't called, and his phone goes straight to voicemail. Owen's stomach dropped. Mom, that job was what? Real. The contract had been real, which meant Rick had been telling the truth, which meant Owen had sent him out alone to do a two-person job with dangerous men watching his every move. Where was the job site? Somewhere north, the Black Rock Desert area. Owen, what's going on? I'll call you back. He ended the call, dialed Rick's number. Voicemail. He tried again. Same result. Sam came out onto the porch. What's wrong? Rick's missing. The job was real, and Owen couldn't finish the sentence. I need to find him. You don't even know where he is. The Black Rock Desert, North Canyons. That's 100 square miles of nothing. Then I better get started. Owen was already moving, grabbing his jacket, his boots. Max was on his feet, reading the urgency. Sam caught his arm. Hold on, think this through. It's dark, you don't know the terrain, and if Rick's in real trouble, going in blind won't help him. I can't just sit here. I'm not saying sit here. I'm saying wait until first light, take supplies, and do this smart. Sam's grip tightened. Going out there now gets you both killed. Owen wanted to argue, but Sam was right. He was always right. First light. First light, Sam confirmed. Get some sleep. You'll need it. But sleep didn't come. Owen lay in bed staring at the ceiling while worst-case scenarios played on repeat in his mind. Rick injured. Rick dead. Rick bleeding out in some canyon while Owen had been too proud to help. Max whined, sensing his distress. I should have gone with him. The dog's tail thumped against the mattress. I know, I'm an idiot. At 4 a.m., Owen gave up on sleep and started packing. Water, first aid kit, rope, flashlight, protein bars. Everything he could think of. Sam appeared in the doorway, already dressed. Thought you might start early. He held out a satellite phone. Take this. Service is spotty out there. You're not coming. Someone's got to stay and run the ranch. Besides, you've got Max. He's better than a search and rescue team. Sam's expression softened. Bring your brother home, Owen, even if he doesn't deserve it. The drive north took 2 hours. The landscape shifted from canyon to desert brown earth, giving way to white alkali flats that stretched to the horizon. Owen followed the coordinates from the BLM contract, watched the numbers count down on his GPS. At 7 a.m., he found Rick's truck. It sat at the end of a dirt road, driver's door, open, keys still in the ignition. Empty. Owen's heart hammered. Rick. No answer, just wind and silence. Max jumped from the truck, nose immediately down, tracking. The dog moved with purpose, following a scent trail that led away from the road toward a series of low hills. Owen followed, scanning the ground for signs. Boot prints in the dust, disturbed rocks, the kind of trail someone leaves when they're moving fast. Or running. Rick. He called again, louder this time. Max stopped, ears forward, then barked once, sharp and urgent. Owen ran. He found Rick in a dry wash, slumped against a rock, left leg bent at an angle that made Owen's stomach turn. Blood soaked through his jeans, and his face was gray with pain. Jesus Christ. Took you long enough. Rick's voice was weak, but he managed a smile. Thought you didn't care. What happened? Stepped in a crevice. Heard the snap. Been here since yesterday. Rick's eyes were glassy, unfocused. Tried to call, but no signal. Owen dropped to his knees, assessed the leg. Compound fracture, tibia probably broken clean through. The wound was dirty, already showing signs of infection. This is bad, Rick. No kidding. Owen pulled out the satellite phone, dialed Sam. I've got him. Need medical evac. Broken leg, possible infection. Sam's voice crackled. Nearest hospital is 2 hours by ground. I'll call Flight for Life, but response time's 90 minutes minimum. Just get them here. Owen gave the coordinates, ended the call. Rick's hand caught his sleeve. You came. Of course I came. Even after, shut up, save your energy. But Rick kept talking, words tumbling out like a confession. I'm sorry, for everything. For being a terrible brother. For dragging you into my mess. He coughed, grimaced. For making you choose between helping me and hating me. I never hated you. You should. God knows I hate myself enough for both of us. Rick's eyes closed. If I don't make it, you're making it. If I don't tell Mom. He stopped, swallowed. Tell her I tried. That at the end I tried to be better. Tell her yourself. Owen pulled out the first aid kit, started cleaning the wound as best he could. Rick screamed a raw animal sound that echoed off the canyon walls. Max whined, pressed close to Owen, offering comfort the only way he knew how. Almost done. Almost done. He wrapped the leg, splinted it with branches he found nearby, and gave Rick water in small sips. Then he sat back, checked his watch. 80 minutes until the helicopter arrived. 80 minutes to keep Rick conscious and stable. Talk to me. Owen kept his voice steady. Tell me about the job. What were you supposed to do? Rick's eyes flickered open. Count horses. Document herd sizes. That's it. So what happened? Got excited. Saw a group and tried to get closer for photos. Wasn't watching where I stepped. He laughed, weak and bitter. Story of my life. Moving too fast, not looking down. Rick. I gambled away Dad's life insurance money. Did you know that the 50 grand Mom was supposed to use for the house? Gone in 6 months. Rick's voice broke. That's why she's struggling. Because I'm a screw-up who can't stop betting on things I can't control. Owen felt something crack in his chest. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know who you're saving. You deserve to know I'm not worth it. That's not your call. Then whose call is it? Mine. And I'm here. So stop talking and stay awake. 60 minutes. 45. 30. Rick's breathing got shallower. His skin got colder. Owen took off his jacket, wrapped it around his brother, kept talking to keep him conscious. Remember when we were kids, when Dad took us camping at Lake Tahoe? You fell in the lake. You jumped in after me, even though you couldn't swim. Rick's smile was faint. You were my little brother. Had to protect you. When did that stop? When you left. When you enlisted and became this hero, and I stayed here and turned into... He gestured weakly at himself. This. You didn't turn into anything. You made choices, bad choices, but that doesn't mean you can't make better ones. Pretty words, but we both know I'm past redemption. Nobody's past redemption, not if they want it bad enough. The sound of rotors interrupted them, distant at first, then growing louder. The helicopter appeared over the ridge, medical insignia clear on its side. There. See, you're going to be fine. Rick's hand found Owen's. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Wait until you see the hospital bill. The medics worked fast. IV fluids, pain medication, backboard lift. Owen watched them load Rick into the helicopter, saw his brother's eyes close as the morphine took effect. You riding with him? The lead medic shouted over the rotor noise. Owen looked at Max, at Rick's truck, at the desert stretching endlessly. No, I'll meet you at the hospital. The helicopter lifted off, banking south, carrying Rick away. And Owen stood in the dust and wind, feeling the weight of the last few hours settle on his shoulders. Max pressed against his leg. Yeah, I know. Let's go home. But when he got to Rick's truck, he found something that made his blood run cold. The glove box was open. Inside a manila envelope. Inside that photographs. Owen's hands shook as he looked through them. Pictures of Sam's ranch. Pictures of the corrals. Pictures of Owen working with the horses. And underneath a note in handwriting that wasn't Rick's, "We know where he is. You've got 1 week." The signature was just an initial, C. Castellano. Owen's stomach turned to ice. Rick hadn't been lying about the debt. Hadn't been lying about the danger. And now Owen had dragged Sam into this, made his refuge a target. He pulled out the satellite phone, called Sam. Rick's on his way to the hospital, but we've got a problem. What kind of problem? Owen told him about the photos, the note, the timeline. Sam was quiet for a long moment. You think they'll come here? I know they will. Then we better be ready. Sam, I can't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm offering. This is my property and nobody threatens what's mine. His voice hardened. Come home. We'll figure this out together. Owen drove back with his foot heavy on the gas, Max beside him, dread growing with every mile. When he pulled into the ranch, Sam was waiting on the porch with someone Owen didn't recognize, a woman maybe 50 with the bearing of someone who'd seen combat. This is Sheriff Martinez, Sam said. Old friend. I told her what's happening. Martinez extended her hand. Mr. Carter, Sam says you've got a gambling outfit making threats. Not against me, against my brother. But I'm collateral now. Tell me everything. So Owen did. Rick's debt, Castellano's operation, the photos, the timeline. Martinez listened, took notes, asked pointed questions. When he finished, she closed her notebook. Castellano's known to us. Small-time operation, but violent. We've been trying to get something solid on him for years. She looked between Owen and Sam. This might be our chance. You want to use me as bait. I want to protect you and catch a criminal. If those two things overlap, so be it. Martinez pulled out her phone. I can have deputies stationed here within an hour. Surveillance backup of the works, but I need your cooperation. What does that look like? You stay visible, you keep to your routine, you let them come to you. She met his eyes. Can you do that? Every instinct said, run. Get out, get gone, disappear into another desert where bad men didn't know his name. But he looked at Sam, who'd given him work and shelter, at Max, who'd saved his life, at the horses in the corrals who needed someone patient enough to help them heal. Yeah, I can do that. Good. Martinez made a call, speaking in rapid-fire Spanish. Deputies are on their way. In the meantime, stay inside after dark. Keep your dog close, and if you see anything suspicious, call me immediately. She left with a promise to return before sunset. Sam poured coffee, pushed a cup toward Owen. You okay? No. Good. Means you're thinking clearly. Sam sat across from him. You did the right thing. Saving Rick, calling Martinez, staying to face this. Doesn't feel right. Right things rarely do. Sam sipped his coffee. You know what I see when I look at you, a man who's still fighting, not with guns or violence, but with integrity. That's rarer than you think. Rick called me a hero once, made it sound like an insult. People insult what they don't understand. Your brother doesn't understand that heroism isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. Owen wanted to believe that. Wanted to think there was nobility in any of this. But mostly, he just felt tired. His phone rang. The hospital. Rick was out of surgery stable asking for him. Go. Sam gestured toward the door. I'll hold down the fort. What if they come while I'm gone? Then they'll meet me and my shotgun. I'm not as young as I used to be, but I can still defend what's mine. The drive to the hospital took 40 minutes. Owen found Rick in a private room, leg elevated in traction, face less gray than before. You look terrible, Rick said. You're one to talk. Rick's smile faded. They came to the ranch, didn't they? Castellano's guys. How did you know? Because that's what they do. They apply pressure until you break. Rick's hands clenched the bedsheets. Owen, you need to get out. Leave town. Leave Nevada, go somewhere they can't find you. Too late for that. It's not too late. I called the sheriff. Martinez knows about Castellano. She's setting up protection at the ranch. Rick's face went pale. You called the cops? Are you insane? They'll kill you for that? Maybe. Or maybe Martinez will arrest them first. You don't understand how this works. These people don't play by rules. Neither do Marines. Owen pulled a chair close. You put me in this situation, Rick. You dragged me into your mess whether I wanted it or not. So now we do it my way. We face this head on. That's suicide. It's the only option that doesn't involve running for the rest of my life. Owen leaned forward. When this is over, if we survive, you're going to get help. Real help. Counseling, rehab, whatever it takes. I don't need. Yes, you do. And you're going to get it even if I have to drag you there myself. Rick looked away, jaw tight. Why do you care? After everything I've done to you. Because you're my brother. And because someone has to believe you can be better than this. I don't deserve that belief. Probably not. But you're getting it anyway. A knock interrupted them. A doctor entered, chart in hand. Mr. Carter, we need to discuss your brother's treatment plan. Owen stood. I'll be outside. In the hallway, he found a quiet corner and called Sam. How's everything? Quiet so far. Deputies arrived an hour ago, parked at the property line. Sam's voice was steady. How's Rick? Alive, stable, stubborn. Sounds like someone else I know. Owen almost smiled. I'll be back before dark. Take your time. We've got this covered. But as Owen headed back to Rick's room, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Tell your brother time's up. Tomorrow night. Come alone, or the ranch burns. Owen stared at the message, felt ice flood his veins. They weren't going to wait for Martinez's trap. They were accelerating the timeline. And tomorrow night, Owen would have to choose his brother's debt or Sam's safety. Some choices he was learning had no right answer, only consequences you had to live with. Owen showed the text to Martinez in the hospital parking lot. She read it twice, her expression hardening with each word. They're not bluffing. Castellano's crew burned down a trailer park in Sparks last year when someone couldn't pay. Killed 3 people. So what do? You let us handle it. We move up the operation, set the trap for tonight instead of tomorrow. They said come alone. And you're actually considering that? Martinez grabbed his arm. Listen to me, Carter. These men are professionals. They've done this before. You go alone, you die. Period. If I don't go, Sam's ranch burns, with him in it. We can protect. Can you guarantee Sam's safety if I don't show up? Owen pulled free. Because I've made enough bad calls in my life. I'm not adding his death to the list. Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled out her phone, made a call. It's me. We're moving to Plan B. Tonight sunset. Get the team ready. She ended the call, turned back to Owen. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell them you'll meet them. We're going to wire you, put surveillance on every approach to the location, and have tactical units standing by. When they make their move, we take them down. And if something goes wrong, then you better hope your dog is as smart as Sam says he is. Owen drove back to the ranch with Max beside him, and dread sitting heavy in his chest. The deputies were still parked at the property line, trying to look inconspicuous and failing completely. Sam met him at the door. You look like you're about to do something stupid. Yeah. Want to talk about it? Not particularly. Sam poured coffee anyway, pushed a cup toward Owen. You know, when my son was in deep with his addiction, I spent every day trying to save him. Made deals with dealers, paid off debts, covered for him with the law. Thought if I just tried hard enough, loved him enough, he'd turn it around. Did he? No, he got worse. Because every time I saved him, I taught him he didn't have to save himself. Sam's eyes were distant. I was enabling him, not helping him. Took me 10 years to figure that out. By then it was too late. Owen understood what Sam wasn't saying. Rick's debt isn't my responsibility. That's right. It's his. And if you die trying to fix it, you're not a hero. You're just another casualty of his bad choices. So what do? Let Castellano burn your ranch. You let Martinez do her job. You trust the system even when it's scary. Sam's voice softened. You've been carrying other people's weight your whole life, Owen. At some point, you've got to put it down. Owen wanted to believe that. Wanted to think there was a version of this where he didn't have to choose between his brother and his conscience. But life didn't work that way. His phone buzzed. A new text, coordinates attached. Sunset. Bring cash or bring nothing. Last chance. Owen opened the attachment. The location was 15 miles east in a canyon system he didn't recognize. Martinez called 30 seconds later. Got the coordinates. We're setting up now. You'll wear a wire and we'll have eyes on you the whole time. How much cash do they expect? Doesn't matter. You're not actually paying them. They'll know I don't have 47 grand. They'll assume you're negotiating. The point is to get them on record making threats demanding money showing intent. That's what we need for arrest warrants. Owen's stomach churned. When do we leave? 3 hours. That gives us time to prep and position units. Come to the sheriff's station at 4. We'll wire you up and go over the plan. She ended the call. Sam was watching him with those knowing eyes. You're going through with it. Yeah. Even though it's dangerous and stupid and might get you killed. Especially because of that. Owen managed a bitter smile. At least it's a choice I'm making. Not one Rick's making for me. At 4 p.m., Owen sat in Martinez's office while a tech taped a microphone to his chest. The device was small, almost invisible under his shirt, but it felt like a target. Test, the tech said. Say something. This is a terrible idea. Martinez's voice crackled through a speaker. Loud and clear. And for the record, I agree. But it's the best terrible idea we've got. The tech handed Owen an earpiece. We'll be listening the whole time. If things go sideways, say the word clear, and we move in immediately. What if I can't say anything? Then we're coming in anyway. Your vitals will spike, we'll know. That was somehow both reassuring and terrifying. Martinez came in holding a tactical vest. Put this on under your jacket. They'll see it. They'll see you're taking precautions. Makes you look smart, not suspicious. She helped him into the vest, checked the fit. Remember, your job is to get them talking. Get them to admit to the extortion, the threats, the violence. We need evidence. And if they just shoot me, they won't. They need to know where Rick hid the money first. Owen stared at her. Rick doesn't have any money. They don't know that. As far as they're concerned, your brother's been skimming for months. They think there's a stash somewhere. Martinez's expression was grim. That's the only reason you're still alive. The second they figure out there's nothing to recover, the calculation changes. So I'm buying time. You're buying evidence and hopefully justice. Owen checked his watch. 90 minutes until sunset. He called Sam. How's everything there? Quiet. Your dog's been pacing, though. He knows something's wrong. Tell him I'll be back. Tell him yourself. You're coming back, right? Owen wanted to say yes. Wanted to promise he'd survive this and return to the ranch and continue the work of healing broken horses and broken men. But promises were dangerous things when you didn't control the outcome. I'll do my best. Sam was quiet for a moment. That's all any of us can do. Godspeed, Marine. The drive to the canyon took 40 minutes. Martinez followed in an unmarked car, staying far enough back to avoid detection. 2 tactical units were already in position, hidden in the rocks overlooking the meeting site. Owen parked where the coordinates indicated a flat stretch of hardpan surrounded by low cliffs. The sun was touching the horizon, painting everything orange and red. His phone buzzed. Walk forward 50 yards. Alone. Owen got out, left his truck running. Max barked from the passenger seat, sensing danger. Stay, Owen commanded. Stay, boy. The dog whined, but obeyed. Owen walked forward, hands visible, trying to ignore the feeling of crosshairs on his back. 3 men emerged from behind a rock formation. The one in the middle was older, maybe 60, with silver hair and expensive clothes that looked wrong in the desert. Castellano. The other 2 were younger, harder, with the dead eyes of men who'd done violence and would do it again. Owen Carter. Castellano's voice was smooth, almost friendly. Rick's little brother, the war hero. I'm not here to talk about me. No. Then why are you here? Because you threatened to burn down an innocent man's property. Castellano smiled. Innocent. That's a relative term, don't you think? He gestured to the men beside him. These are my associates. They're here to make sure we all stay honest. What do you want? What I've always wanted. My money. Rick doesn't have it. Then he shouldn't have borrowed it. Castellano pulled out a cigar, took his time lighting it. Here's how this works. Your brother owes me $47,000, plus interest, plus penalty for making me wait. Call it an even 60. I don't have 60,000, but you have access to it. Marines get pensions right, take out a loan, rob a bank. I don't care how you get it. I care that you deliver it within 72 hours. Owen felt the wire against his chest, heard Martinez's voice faint in his earpiece. Keep him talking. We need more. And if I can't get it? Castellano's smile vanished. Then I start taking things you value. The ranch burns first. Then we move to people. Sam Hollis is what 65 old men have accidents all the time. Trip and fall, hit their heads tragic. You're threatening murder. I'm explaining consequences. There's a difference. Castellano stepped closer. You seem like a smart guy, Owen, smarter than your brother, so let me spell this out. Rick made a deal with me. He failed to honor that deal. In my business, failure has costs. Those costs get passed on. Right now, they're being passed to you. I'm not responsible for my brother's debts. You became responsible the moment you involved yourself, the moment you saved him in that canyon, the moment you brought the sheriff into this. Castellano's eyes went cold. Did you think I wouldn't know I've got people everywhere, Carter, including inside the sheriff's department? Ice shot down Owen's spine, Martinez's voice in his ear. He's bluffing. Stay calm. But what if he wasn't bluffing? You're wrong, Owen said. I haven't talked to any cops. Really? Then why is Sheriff Martinez parked 300 yards behind you with a tactical team in the rocks? Castellano raised his voice. You can come out now, Sheriff. We know you're there. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Martinez's voice crackled through the radio abort. Get out of there now. But before Owen could move, gunfire erupted from the cliffs. Not from Martinez's team. From another position higher up flanking. Castellano's men returned fire, and suddenly the canyon was chaos. Owen hit the ground, heard bullets whining overhead, felt the percussion of shots echoing off stone. His earpiece was screaming with voices. Martinez shouting orders, someone calling for backup, the crackle of radio interference. He crawled toward his truck where Max was barking frantically. Stay down, Martinez's voice from somewhere behind him. We've got shooters at... Her voice cut off. Owen's heart stopped. Martinez. Static. One of Castellano's men was running toward Owen's truck, gun raised. Owen didn't think. He just moved muscle memory from 8 years of combat kicking in. He rolled, came up behind a rock, saw the tactical vest had been hit twice, but held. The shooter fired again, missed. Then Max exploded from the truck. The dog hit the shooter at full speed, 70 pounds of trained aggression teeth, finding the man's arm. The gun went flying. Owen ran, grabbed the weapon, turned to see Castellano retreating toward a vehicle hidden behind the rocks. Stop! Don't move! Castellano didn't stop. Owen fired twice, warning shots that kicked up dirt at the man's feet. Castellano kept running. Then a new voice cut through the chaos. Federal agents. Everyone on the ground now. Men in tactical gear poured into the canyon. Not sheriff's deputies, but FBI. At least a dozen weapons drawn, moving with practiced precision. Castellano was tackled before he reached his vehicle. His remaining associate dropped his weapon, raised his hands. The shooting stopped as suddenly as it had started. Owen stood there, breathing hard, still holding the gun, watching FBI agents swarm the scene. Max returned to his side, panting blood on his muzzle that wasn't his own. Good boy, Owen whispered. Good boy. An FBI agent approached, hand extended for the weapon. Mr. Carter, I'm Agent Torres. You can put the gun down. Owen handed it over, felt his hands shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. Is Martinez... She's fine. Took cover when the shooting started. We had units watching the watchers. Torres gestured to where Martinez was emerging from behind a rock formation, looking shaken but unharmed. She called us in when Castellano mentioned having people inside her department. That was our signal to move. I don't understand. This wasn't just about your brother's debt. Castellano's been running a racketeering operation for 15 years. We've been building a case for 18 months. Your brother was just another victim. But when Martinez contacted us about the extortion attempt, we saw an opportunity. Torres smiled grimly. You helped us catch a very bad man, Mr. Carter. Owen felt dizzy. So this was all. A setup, yes and no. The threat to you was real. Castellano absolutely would have hurt you and Sam Hollis if we hadn't intervened. But we were never going to let it get that far. Martinez appeared looking apologetic. I couldn't tell you. If you'd known about the FBI involvement, you wouldn't have acted naturally. We needed Castellano to think he was in control. So you used me. We protected you while collecting evidence. There's a difference. Owen wanted to be angry, wanted to feel betrayed, but mostly he just felt exhausted. Can I go home? Soon. We need your statement first. Torres glanced at Max, who was still pressed against Owen's leg. That's one hell of a dog. Best partner I've ever had. They drove Owen to the FBI field office in Reno, where he spent 3 hours giving statements, signing forms, and reliving the worst evening of his life in excruciating detail. Finally, at midnight, they let him go. Sam was waiting in the lobby. Owen stopped surprise, cutting through his exhaustion. What are you doing here? Martinez called. Told me what happened. Sam looked him over, checking for injuries. You hurt? No. Good. Because I'm going to hug you now, and I don't want to make anything worse. Sam pulled him into an embrace that was brief and fierce and exactly what Owen needed. Let's go home, Sam said. They drove in comfortable silence, Max asleep in the back seat. When they finally pulled into the ranch, Owen saw lights on in every building the deputies had stayed, keeping watch even though the threat was gone. They're good people, Sam said, reading Owen's thoughts. When someone's in trouble, folks around here show up. Inside, Sam made coffee, even though it was nearly 2 a.m. They sat at the kitchen table, and Owen told him everything, the wire, the ambush, the FBI involvement, the whole tangled mess. When he finished, Sam was quiet for a long time. Your brother's debt is paid, he said finally. Castellano's assets will be seized, his operation dissolved. Whatever Rick owed, it's gone. Rick doesn't know that yet. Then you better tell him. Owen called the hospital. Rick answered on the second ring voice, thick with sleep medication. Owen. What time is it? Late. Early. Doesn't matter. Owen took a breath. It's over. Castellano's in custody. The FBI arrested him. Your debt's gone. Silence on the other end. Then, what did you do? What I had to. You could have died. But I didn't. Owen's voice was steady. And now you've got a second chance. Don't waste it. I don't know how to not waste things. Then learn. Get help. Go to therapy. Join a program. Whatever it takes. Owen felt something loosen in his chest, something he'd been carrying for too long. But I'm done saving you, Rick. I'm done fixing your mistakes. This is the last time. I understand. Do you? Because I need you to really understand this. I love you. You're my brother and I'll always love you. But I can't keep setting myself on fire to keep you warm. Rick's voice cracked. I'm sorry. For all of it. I know. Now prove it by doing better. Owen ended the call, set the phone down, and felt the weight of 10,000 expectations finally lift. Sam raised his coffee cup. To second chances, and knowing when to stop giving them. Owen clinked his cup against Sam's. to letting go. They drank in silence, and somewhere in the corrals, the horses moved restlessly, sensing the shift in the air. The crisis was over, but the work of healing had only just begun. Owen spent the next morning sleeping off the adrenaline crash. When he finally woke, the sun was high, and Max was lying across his legs like a weighted blanket. "You're too heavy for this," Owen muttered. Max's tail thumped. Owen dragged himself to the kitchen where Sam had left a note. "Gone to town for supplies. Coffee's fresh. There's a horse in the South Corral who needs your attention. His name is Buck." Owen poured coffee, walked out to the South Corral, and stopped. The horse inside was massive, a buckskin stallion, easily 16 hands with a wild eye and scars across his flanks that told stories of violence. Sam appeared beside him. "Thought you were asleep." "I was. Who's this?" "Buck. Pulled him from a kill auction last week. Owner beat him until he went mean. Now he's scheduled for euthanasia because nobody can get near him. Can't you find him a sanctuary? I am a sanctuary." Sam's expression was serious. "But this one's different. He's not just scared, he's dangerous. Attacked the last 2 people who tried to work with him. So why keep him? Because I see something in him. Something that wants to trust but doesn't know how." Sam looked at Owen. "Reminds me of someone." Owen understood. "You think I can reach him?" "I think you understand what it's like to come home from war and not know how to be gentle anymore." Owen stared at the stallion, saw the tension in every muscle, the way his ears pinned back at the slightest sound. This wasn't a horse. This was a survivor, armed with hooves and fury, waiting for the next blow. "What if I can't?" "Then we put him down humanely, and you tried. But I don't think you'll fail." Sam squeezed his shoulder. "Take your time. Listen to what he's telling you, and trust Max. That dog knows things we don't." Sam walked away, leaving Owen alone with the horse and his doubts. For a long moment, Owen just watched. Buck paced the corral, head high, nostrils flaring. Every few passes, he'd charge the fence, testing it, looking for weakness. Owen opened the gate, stepped inside, closed it behind him. Buck's head snapped around, eyes rolling white. "Easy," Owen said quietly. "Easy." The stallion charged. Owen didn't move, didn't flinch, just stood there as half a ton of enraged horse bore down on him. At the last second, Buck veered off, hooves churning dirt. Owen's heart hammered, but he stayed still. Buck circled again, closer this time. "I'm not going to hurt you," Owen said. "I know you don't believe that, but it's true." The horse snorted, tossed his head. Owen sat down in the dirt. Buck stopped, confused. Humans didn't sit down. Humans were threats that came at you with whips and ropes. But this human just sat there, not moving, barely breathing. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Max appeared at the fence, watching silently. Buck's attention shifted to the dog, ears forward with curiosity instead of fear. Then Max did something extraordinary. He crawled under the fence, walked calmly into the corral, and lay down next to Owen. The stallion froze. The dog didn't move, didn't challenge, just lay there calm and peaceful, as if angry horses were no threat at all. Buck took one step closer, then another. Max's tail wagged once, slow and lazy, and something in the stallion broke. Not violently, not dramatically, just a subtle shift. His head lowered, his ears came forward, and he took one more step toward the strange human and dog who refused to act like predators. Owen held out his hand, palm up, empty. Buck stretched his neck, nostrils flaring, scenting. Their eyes met, prey and predator, victim and survivor. 2 broken things trying to figure out if trust was still possible. The stallion's nose touched Owen's palm. Contact. Owen didn't move, didn't grab, didn't try to control, just let Buck make the choice. The horse blew out a breath, warm and damp, then stepped back. But the wall had cracked, and tomorrow Owen would try again. He stood, slowly, moved toward the gate, Max beside him. Buck watched them go, no longer charging, no longer attacking, just watching. Sam was waiting outside. How'd it go? He didn't kill me. That's progress. Sam smiled. Same time tomorrow. Yeah, same time tomorrow. That night, Owen sat on the porch with his phone staring at his mother's number. He hadn't talked to her since the text telling her he was done with Rick, hadn't explained about Castellano or the FBI or any of it. She deserved to know. He dialed. She answered on the first ring. Owen, thank God. I've been so worried. It's over, Mom. Rick's dead is gone. He's safe. How, what happened? Owen told her. Not everything, but enough. When he finished, she was crying. You could have died. But I didn't. Because you were protecting your brother, even after everything he did to you. No. Owen's voice was firm. I was protecting Sam. And myself. Rick was just collateral benefit. Don't say that. It's true, Mom. And it's okay that it's true. I spent my whole life trying to be the good son, the loyal brother, the hero who saves everyone. But I can't do that anymore. I can't carry weight that isn't mine. Maria was quiet. Then, when did you get so wise? When I almost died in a canyon, because my brother left me there. Owen. I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying it because it's time for truth. Rick needs help. Professional help. Not just me or you enabling him. And until he gets that help, I can't have him in my life. You're cutting him off. I'm setting boundaries. There's a difference. His mother sighed long and weary. You sound like your father. Is that a bad thing? No. He was the strongest man I ever knew. Even when he was dying, he was strong. Her voice broke. I miss him so much. Me too, Mom. They talked for another hour, really talked about Dad and grief and the weight of expectations. About Rick's gambling and Maria's enabling and the ways families break under pressure. When they finally said goodbye, Owen felt lighter. Not healed, not fixed, but lighter. He looked at Max, who was watching him with those two knowing eyes. What do you think, boy? Are we going to be okay? Max's tail thumped twice. I'll take that as a yes. Inside, Sam had left dinner warming in the oven. They ate together, talking about horses and recovery, and the work that waited tomorrow. And for the first time in months, Owen felt something that might have been peace. Owen returned to Buck's corral every morning for a week, and every morning the stallion charged him. Not close enough to connect, just close enough to remind Owen that trust was earned in inches, not miles. On day 8, Buck stopped charging. On day 9, he let Owen stand within 10 feet without bolting. On day 10, something changed. Owen entered the corral as usual, Max beside him. They sat in the dirt and waited. Buck paced his usual pattern, tense and wary. Then Max did something unexpected. He walked straight toward the stallion, calm and deliberate. Owen's heart stopped. Max, no! But the dog didn't stop. He walked right up to Buck, sat down at the horse's feet and looked up at him with those knowing eyes. Buck's nostrils flared. His ears pinned back. Max didn't move. For a long moment, they stared at each other, horse and dog, both survivors of violence, both trying to remember what gentleness felt like. Then Buck lowered his head and sniffed Max's fur. The dog's tail wagged once, and Buck, the stallion everyone said was beyond saving, took one step back and let out a breath that sounded almost like relief. Owen stood, slowly moved closer. Buck's eyes tracked him, but the horse didn't retreat. Good boy, Owen whispered. Both of you. Good boys. He extended his hand, palm up, empty of threats. Buck considered it, considered him. Then touched his nose to Owen's palm and held it there. Contact. Real contact, not just curiosity. Owen felt something break open in his chest. Not pain exactly, but the release of tension he'd been carrying since he first saw this broken animal. You're not mean, Owen said quietly. You're just scared. I know what that's like. Sam appeared at the fence watching. When Owen finally left the corral, Sam was smiling. Thought you might reach him. Max reached him. I just followed. That dog's smarter than most people I know. Most people aren't worth knowing. Sam laughed, but his expression turned serious. Got a call this morning, from your mother. Owen's stomach tightened. What did she want? To know if you're okay. To know if I'm taking care of you. Sam's voice softened. She also wanted to know if I thought Rick could work here, when he's healed. Absolutely not. That's what I told her. Owen felt relief flood through him. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. She's coming here tomorrow. Wants to see you. I don't want to see her. I know, but she's your mother, and she's worried, and sometimes facing uncomfortable conversations is part of healing. Sam squeezed his shoulder. You don't have to decide now. Just think about it. That night, Owen couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about his mother, about Rick, about all the ways family could be both anchor and weight. Max sensed his restlessness pressed closer on the bed. What do I say to her? Owen asked the dog. How do I explain that I love her but can't be around her if she keeps enabling Rick? Max's answer was to lick Owen's hand. You make everything seem so simple. Morning came too fast. Owen was working with Buck when he heard the car pull up. He recognized the engine sound, his mother's old Honda, the one she'd been driving since Owen was a kid. Sam met her at the gate. Owen watched from the corral as they talked, saw his mother's gestures growing more animated, saw Sam remain calm and steady. Finally, Sam pointed toward Owen. Maria walked to the corral fence, and Owen saw how much she'd aged in the weeks since he'd been home. New lines around her eyes, gray in her hair that hadn't been there before. You look good, she said. Healthier than when you first got back. Hard work helps. So does distance from family, apparently. Owen turned to face her fully. That's not fair. Isn't it? You show up after 8 years, stay for 3 days, then disappear to work for a stranger? Sam's not a stranger. He's the only person who's treated me like I matter. Maria flinched. I treated you like you matter. No, Mom. You treated me like a tool, something Rick could use to fix his problems. That's not true. It is true. You asked me to come home because Rick needed help. Not because you missed me. Not because you wanted to see me. Because your other son couldn't handle his own mess. Maria's eyes filled with tears. I did miss you, every single day. Then why didn't you call? Why didn't you write? Why didn't you do anything except wait until you needed something from me? Because I was angry. The words burst out of her raw and honest. I was angry that you left, that you chose the military over us, that you became this stranger who knew how to kill people but didn't know how to be a son anymore. Owen felt like he'd been punched. You think I wanted to leave? I think you couldn't wait to leave. This town, this family, all of it. And you came back to prove you'd outgrown us. I came back because you asked me to. And the second I arrived, Rick was already setting me up to fail. Maria shook her head. Rick made mistakes. Rick tried to get me killed. Twice. And you keep defending him like he's still the kid who broke a window instead of a grown man who left his brother to die in a desert. He's sick, Owen. Addiction is a disease. I know it's a disease. I spent 8 years seeing good men destroyed by PTSD and addiction and trauma. But you know what the difference is? They wanted help. Rick just wants to keep gambling and have someone else pay for it. Maria gripped the fence rail. So what am I supposed to do? Abandon him? You're supposed to let him face consequences. You're supposed to stop sacrificing your other son to save the one who won't save himself. That's easy for you to say. You weren't the one who found him passed out in his car with empty pill bottles. You weren't the one who got the calls from casinos about debts. You weren't there. Because I was in Afghanistan getting shot at. Owen's voice rose. I was doing my job serving my country, and every time I called home, all you talked about was Rick. His problems, his debts, his drama. Like I didn't exist, except as a potential solution. Maria went pale. I didn't realize. Yeah, you didn't. Because you were so focused on saving Rick that you forgot you had another son who needed saving too. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Finally, Maria spoke, her voice small. I'm sorry. Owen wanted to stay angry, wanted to hold on to the hurt and use it as armor. But he was tired, so tired of being angry. I know you are. But sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't erase 8 years of feeling invisible. He took a breath. I love you, Mom. But I can't be around you if you're going to keep choosing Rick over your own well-being, over mine. I'm not choosing. You are. Every time you bail him out, every time you make excuses, every time you ask me to help him, you're choosing. And I'm done being the one who loses. Maria wiped her eyes. What do you want from me? I want you to get help. Therapy, Al-Anon, something. I want you to learn how to set boundaries with Rick. And I want you to stop expecting me to fix him. And if I do all that, then maybe we can have a relationship, a real one, not just one based on crisis management. Maria nodded slowly. Okay. I'll try. I'll get help. Her voice broke. I'll try to be a better mother, even if it's too late. It's not too late. But it has to be real change, not just promises. I understand. She looked past him to where Buck stood watching. That's the horse Sam told me about. Yeah, Buck. He looks angry. He's scared. There's a difference. Maria met his eyes. Are you talking about the horse or yourself? Owen almost smiled. Maybe both. She reached through the fence, touched his hand. I am proud of you. I know I don't say it enough, but I am. Then show it. Get help. Do better. I will. She squeezed his hand once, then let go. I should go. Let you get back to work. Owen watched her drive away, felt Max press against his leg. That was hard, he said to the dog. Max's tail wagged. But necessary, right? Another wag. Owen turned back to Buck, who was watching him with those knowing eyes. Ready to try something new today? The stallion's ears came forward. Owen climbed into the corral, sat down in the dirt, and waited. Max lay beside him. 5 minutes passed. 10. Then Buck walked over and stood directly in front of Owen. Not threatening, not challenging, just present. Owen reached up, slowly touched the horse's shoulder. Buck flinched, but didn't bolt. Good boy. It's okay. Nobody's going to hurt you. He kept his hand there, feeling the muscle and tension, feeling Buck's rapid heartbeat slowly calm. They stayed like that for 20 minutes, man-dog and horse connected by nothing but patience and the stubborn belief that broken things could heal. When Owen finally stood and left the corral, Sam was watching from the porch. You broke through. Not broke through, just made contact. That's how it starts. Sam handed him coffee. Got another call today, from the VA hospital. Owen's chest tightened. What did they want? They're starting a new program. Equine therapy for veterans with PTSD. They need someone to run it. Someone who understands both horses and trauma. And they called you. They called about you. Martinez told them what you've been doing here, how you work with Buck. Sam smiled. They want to interview you. Owen's first instinct was to say no, to hide behind the safety of the ranch and avoid anything that meant responsibility. But he thought about the nights he couldn't sleep, the flashbacks that still came, the weight of memories that never quite went away. When's the interview? Next week, if you're interested. I don't have any qualifications. You've got 8 years of military service and proof that you can reach animals nobody else can. That's qualification enough. Owen sat with the idea, turning it over in his mind. I'd have to work with other veterans. Yeah. Talk about my own trauma. Probably. Be responsible for their progress. That's the job. Sam's expression was kind. But you don't have to decide now. Think about it. See how you feel. 3 days later, Owen was in Buck's corral when a truck pulled up. Not Sam's. Not his mother's. Rick's F-350, but Rick wasn't driving. A woman got out mid-40s professional clothes carrying a briefcase. She walked to the fence and waited for Owen to acknowledge her. He didn't. Finally, she spoke. "Mr. Carter, I'm Jennifer Walsh. I'm Rick's attorney." Owen climbed out of the corral, Max immediately at his side. "Rick doesn't need an attorney. The charges were dropped." "Not those charges, new ones. Rick's been arrested." Owen's stomach dropped. For what? Fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion. The FBI's investigation into Castellano uncovered Rick's business practices. Turns out he's been running scams for years. Walsh's expression was professional, but not unkind. He's facing 5 to 10 years federal prison time. Owen felt nothing. No surprise, no sympathy, no anger, just emptiness. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Rick put you down as his emergency contact, and because he's asking to see you." "No." "Mr. Carter." "I said no. I'm done. Whatever Rick needs, he can figure it out himself." Walsh was quiet for a moment. "He told me you'd say that. He also told me to tell you something." "I don't want to hear it." "He said to tell you he's getting help. Real help this time. Court-mandated therapy, addiction counseling, the works. And he said to tell you he's sorry. For real this time." Owen laughed, bitter and sharp. "How many times has he said that? How many times has he promised to change? This time's different. This time he doesn't have a choice." "Good. Maybe prison will teach him what family couldn't." Walsh pulled out a business card, held it out. "If you change your mind, call me. He's being held at the federal facility in Reno. Visiting hours are Saturday and Sunday." Owen didn't take the card. Walsh set it on the fence post and walked away. Sam appeared beside him. "You okay?" "Rick's going to prison." "I heard." Sam picked up the card, studied it. "You going to visit him?" "Why would I?" "Because you're not the kind of man who abandons people, even when they deserve it." "Maybe I should be. Maybe that's what healthy boundaries look like." "Maybe. Or maybe it looks like visiting once, saying what you need to say, and then walking away, knowing you gave him one last chance to hear the truth." Owen wanted to argue, but Sam was right. He was always right. "I'll think about it." That night, Owen lay in bed staring at Walsh's business card. Max was asleep beside him, snoring softly. "What do I do, boy?" Max didn't answer. Owen pulled out his phone, almost called his mother, stopped himself. This wasn't her decision. It was his. He thought about Buck, about the way the horse had finally learned to trust because someone had been patient enough to wait. He thought about his own trauma, the ways war had broken him, and the ways he was learning to heal. He thought about Sam's son dead from an overdose, and Sam's words, "Sometimes love looks like letting go. But sometimes it looked like showing up one last time to tell the truth." Owen grabbed his phone and texted Walsh, "I'll come Saturday. One visit. That's it." Her response came immediately. That's all he's asking for. Saturday morning arrived cold and gray. Owen drove to the federal facility in Reno with Max in the passenger seat, feeling like he was heading into another kind of war. Sam had offered to come, but Owen said no. This was something he had to do alone. The facility was modern and sterile, all concrete and security checkpoints. Owen went through metal detectors, signed forms, waited in a room with other visitors, who all looked as tired as he felt. Finally, they called his name. The visiting room was divided by glass. Rick sat on the other side, wearing orange scrubs, looking smaller and older than Owen remembered. Owen picked up the phone. Rick did the same. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Finally, Rick spoke. "You came." "I came to say goodbye." Rick's face crumpled. "Owen. No. You don't get to talk yet." "I do." Owen's voice was steady, controlled. I spent my whole life trying to be the good brother, trying to fix your problems, cover for your mistakes, believe your promises. And every single time you betrayed that trust. I know. I'm not done. You left me to die in a canyon. You sabotaged my work. You dragged me into debt I didn't owe. And through all of it, you never once thought about anyone but yourself. Rick's tears were falling now. You're right. You're right about all of it. I know I'm right, but here's what you don't know. I forgive you. Rick looked up shocked. I forgive you, Owen repeated. Not because you deserve it, not because you've earned it, but because carrying this anger is killing me, and I'm done letting you have that power. I don't understand. I'm forgiving you for me, not for you. I'm letting go of the weight I've been carrying. Your debt, your choices, your consequences, they're yours now, not mine. So you're abandoning me. No, I'm setting you free. Free to face what you've done without me there to soften it. Free to either grow from this or die from it. Your choice. Rick pressed his hand against the glass. I want to change. I swear I do. Then change. Get help. Do the work. Become someone worth knowing. Owen stood. But do it for yourself, not for me, because I'm done being your reason. Will you visit again? No. Will you write? No. Will I ever see you again? Owen looked at his brother, really looked at him, and felt something like peace settle in his chest. I don't know. Maybe when you get out, if you've done the work, if you've become someone different, maybe then. But right now, this is goodbye. Rick was sobbing now, fully breaking down. I love you. I know you do, in your own broken way. Owen picked up the phone one last time. I love you too, but love isn't enough anymore. It has to be matched with action, with change, with proving that you value the people who care about you. He hung up the phone, turned, and walked away. Rick's cries followed him all the way to the door, but Owen didn't look back. In the parking lot, he sat in his truck for 20 minutes shaking. Max climbed into his lap, all 70 pounds of him, and Owen buried his face in the dog's fur. It's done, he whispered. It's finally done. Max licked his face, patient and steady. Owen started the truck and drove back to the ranch where work waited and horses needed gentling, and life continued regardless of family drama. Sam met him at the gate. How'd it go? I said what I needed to say. Good. Now you can move forward. That afternoon, Owen worked with Buck for 3 hours. The stallion let him touch his neck, his shoulder, his flank, places that had been off limits before. And when Owen finally left the corral, Buck followed him to the fence and watched him go. Progress. Real progress. That night, Owen called the VA hospital. This is Owen Carter. I was told you have a position available. The woman on the other end sounded pleased. Mr. Carter, yes, we'd love to interview you. When are you available? Tomorrow, if that works. Tomorrow's perfect. Come at 10, and Mr. Carter. Thank you for your service. Thank you for offering me a chance to keep serving. He ended the call, looked at Max. What do you think? Am I ready for this? Max's tail thumped twice. That's what I thought. Owen walked out onto the porch where Sam sat with his evening coffee. I took the interview. Sam smiled. Good. You'll be great at it. I don't know anything about running a program. You know about healing. That's enough. They sat in comfortable silence watching the sun set over the canyon. And for the first time since coming home, Owen felt like he might actually have a future. Not the one he'd planned. Not the one he'd expected. But a future nonetheless built on patience, healing, and the stubborn belief that broken things deserved a second chance. Even him. The VA hospital interview lasted 90 minutes, and Owen spent the entire drive back convinced he'd failed. Sam was waiting on the porch when he pulled up. How'd it go? Terrible. I froze on half the questions. Couldn't explain my experience without sounding like I was reading from a manual. Did they ask about Buck? Yeah. What did you say? Owen leaned against the truck. I told them the truth, that I don't know what I'm doing, that I'm just a guy who sits in the dirt and waits for broken things to trust him. Sam smiled. That's exactly what they needed to hear. They said they'd call by Friday. They'll call sooner. Sam was right. The call came Tuesday morning while Owen was working with Buck. Mr. Carter, this is Dr. Patricia Coleman from the VA. We'd like to offer you the position. Owen nearly dropped the phone. You what? We were impressed with your honesty and your approach. The equine therapy program needs someone who understands trauma from the inside, not just from textbooks. That's you. When would I start? 2 weeks. We need time to finalize the contract with the ranch we're partnering with. It's actually quite close to where you're working now, about 15 miles north. Do you know the Morrison property? Owen's heart sank. That's the place Castellano tried to use for his operation. The FBI seized it, and the BLM is converting it to a rehabilitation facility. 20 acres, proper stables, therapy spaces. Everything you'll need. Owen tried to process this. And I'd be running it. You'd be the lead therapist. We're hiring support staff, but you'd work directly with the veterans and horses. Initial program is 12 participants, 3-month intensive. I don't have any credentials. You have military service, personal experience with PTSD, and a track record of reaching animals nobody else can. That's better than credentials. Dr. Coleman's voice softened. We're not looking for perfection, Mr. Carter. We're looking for someone who can show these men that healing is possible. Can you do that? Owen looked at Buck, who was watching him with those knowing eyes. Yeah, I can do that. Excellent. We'll send the paperwork today. Welcome to the team. Owen ended the call, stood there in shock. Max barked once, sharp and celebratory. I got a job, boy. A real job. Sam appeared at the fence. Told you they'd call? How did you know? Because I've been watching you work for months. I know what you're capable of, even if you don't. That night, Owen called his mother. She answered on the first ring. Owen, is everything okay? Yeah, Mom. Everything's... He paused, felt something warm in his chest. Everything's good. I got a job, with the VA. Oh, honey, that's wonderful. Her voice broke. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. Owen took a breath. How are you doing with everything? I started therapy, like you asked. It's hard, but I'm trying. That's all anyone can do. They talked for 20 minutes, really talked about her sessions, and Owen's new job, and the ways they were both learning to heal. When they hung up, Owen felt something shift. Not complete repair, but the beginning of it. The 2 weeks before starting the new job passed in a blur of paperwork and preparation. Sam helped Owen move into a small house on the Morrison property, 2 bedrooms, one for him, and one that immediately became Max's. You sure you don't need me to stay? Sam asked, setting down the last box. I'm sure. You've got your own ranch to run. My door's always open. You know that. I know. Owen pulled Sam into a brief hug. Thank you. For everything. Thank you for reminding me why I do this work. Sam left, and Owen stood in his new house with his dog and his second chance, feeling both terrified and hopeful. The first day of the program, Owen arrived 2 hours early. 12 veterans were scheduled, all combat soldiers, all struggling with PTSD, all looking for something that regular therapy hadn't provided. Dr. Coleman met him at the main building. Nervous. Terrified. Good. Means you care. She handed him a folder. Here are their files. Read them before they arrive. Know what you're dealing with. Owen sat in his office and read. 12 stories of trauma, IEDs and firefights, lost friends and sleepless nights, marriages ending and jobs lost. 12 versions of his own story, each one unique and heartbreaking. At 9 a.m. they arrived. Some came alone. Some brought family members. All of them looked skeptical and exhausted. Owen met them in the main corral, where 6 horses waited rescues like Buck, each one carrying their own trauma. "I'm Owen Carter," he said, keeping his voice steady. "I'm a Marine 8 years deployed. I've got PTSD, insomnia, and a dog who's smarter than I am. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a guy who found out that horses understand trauma in ways humans can't." One of the veterans, a woman maybe 30 with a prosthetic leg, spoke up. "So what, we're just going to pet horses and call ourselves healed? No, we're going to learn how to be present with something that's scared and broken without trying to fix it. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll figure out how to do the same for ourselves." The woman's expression softened slightly. "What's your dog's name?" "Max." "Can I meet him?" Owen gestured, and Max trotted over. The woman knelt, let the dog sniff her hand, then buried her face in his fur. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. "I had a dog. Overseas. He died in the same blast that took my leg." "I'm sorry." Everyone says that. Like sorry fixes anything. But her hand stayed on Max's head. "What's different about this place?" "Nothing's different. We've just got horses who won't judge you, and plenty of time to sit with uncomfortable feelings." Owen met her eyes. "The work is hard. Healing hurts worse than staying broken sometimes. But you're here, which means some part of you still wants to try." She nodded slowly. "I'm Sarah." "Welcome, Sarah." The first week was brutal. Half the veterans couldn't stand to be near the horses. The size triggered memories of threats. The unpredictability echoed combat chaos. 2 participants left after day 3, but the rest stayed. Owen taught them what Sam had taught him: patience, presence, the art of waiting without expectation. They sat in corrals with skittish horses and learned to breathe through panic attacks. They brushed manes and faced their fear of connection. They watched Max herd the horses and saw what trust looked like. Sarah bonded with a gray mare named Ghost, who'd been rescued from a hoarding situation. The horse was terrified of humans, flinched at every touch. "She's like me," Sarah said one afternoon, "waiting for the next hurt. Then show her there isn't one coming." Sarah spent 3 hours sitting in Ghost's stall, not touching, just being present. Eventually, the mare came to her. "She touched me," Sarah whispered, tears streaming. "She chose to touch me." "Because you gave her time to trust." "I don't know how to trust anymore." "You're here. That's trust. You're trying. That's trust." Owen's voice was gentle. "Trust isn't a light switch. It's a muscle. You build it slowly." By week 4, something shifted. The participants started talking to each other, sharing stories, forming connections. They worked together to train the horses, celebrated small victories, supported each other through setbacks. Owen watched it happen and felt something like purpose. Then came the midnight call. Owen was asleep when his phone rang. Dr. Coleman's name on the screen. "Owen, we have a situation. Marcus didn't show up for his evening check-in. His wife is frantic. She says he left the house 6 hours ago and isn't answering his phone." Marcus was a Navy SEAL, 3 tours, diagnosed with severe PTSD. He'd been quiet in the program, working with a black gelding named Shadow, making slow progress. Owen was already pulling on his boots. Where was he going? She doesn't know. But Owen, he took his gun. Ice flooded Owen's veins. "I'm on my way." He drove to Marcus's last known location, the Morrison property. The gates were locked, but Owen had keys. He drove through Max alert beside him, scanning for any sign. The stables were empty. The corrals were quiet. Then Max barked, urgent, insistent, and bolted toward the north pasture. Owen ran after him, flashlight cutting through darkness. He found Marcus in the far corner, sitting on the ground with his back against a fence post. Shadow stood beside him, calm and steady. The gun lay in the dirt 3 feet away. "Marcus?" Owen kept his voice soft, non-threatening. "Hey man, You okay? Marcus didn't look up. No, I'm really not okay. Owen sat down 10 feet away, gave him space. Max moved closer to Marcus, lay down beside him. You want to talk about it? I can't do this anymore. Can't sleep, can't think, can't be around my family without feeling like a threat. I'm broken, Owen. Completely broken. I know what that feels like. Do you really? Marcus's voice cracked. Because I'm sitting here with a loaded gun trying to figure out if my family would be better off without me. Owen's chest tightened. They wouldn't be. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because I've been exactly where you are. Same thoughts, same darkness, same certainty that everyone would be better off if I just disappeared. Marcus finally looked at him. What stopped you? A dog. Owen gestured to Max. He was a failed military working dog, too attached to one handler, they said. Too gentle for combat work. They were going to put him down because he wasn't useful anymore. So I realized if they were wrong about him, maybe they were wrong about me. Maybe being broken doesn't mean being worthless. Owen moved closer, careful and slow. You're not broken, Marcus. You're injured. There's a difference. Feels the same. It doesn't heal the same. Broken things stay broken. Injured things can recover if you give them time and help. Marcus was crying now, silent tears tracking down his face. I don't know how. That's why you're here. That's why we're all here. To figure out how together. Shadow shifted closer, pressed his nose against Marcus's shoulder. The contact seemed to break something in Marcus. He grabbed the horse's mane and sobbed into it raw and unfiltered. Owen waited. Max stayed close. Shadow didn't move. 20 minutes passed before Marcus could speak again. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be honest. This is honest. I should call my wife. Yeah, you should. But first, give me the gun. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. Owen picked it up, checked the safety, pocketed it. Come on, let's get you home. They walked back together, man, dog, and horse, a strange processional through the Nevada night. Marcus's wife was waiting at the property entrance, frantic. When she saw her husband, she ran to him, held him so tight it looked like she might never let go. Thank you, she whispered to Owen. Thank you for finding him. Thank Max. He's the one who knew where to look. Dr. Coleman arrived 30 minutes later. She took Marcus aside, talked to him in low, serious tones. Eventually, she came to Owen. He's agreed to do an inpatient stint, 3 weeks intensive therapy. Will he come back to the program? If he wants to, but Owen... She looked tired. You can't save everyone. Some people aren't ready yet. I know, but I had to try. That's what makes you good at this. Just don't burn yourself out trying to carry everyone's pain. After they left, Owen sat on the porch with Max watching dawn break over the canyon. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus's wife. He told me what you said, about being injured versus broken. Thank you for giving him that perspective. Thank you for giving us hope. Owen read it 3 times, felt something warm and certain settle in his chest. This was why he was here. Not to fix everyone, but to show them healing was possible. The program continued. Marcus returned after 4 weeks quieter, but more present. Sarah adopted Ghost and started training her for therapy work. Another veteran, James, began teaching Buck to work with a saddle. And Owen, who'd come home from war expecting nothing but pain, found himself building something that mattered. 3 months into the program, Sam visited. He walked through the property, watched Owen work with the veterans, and horses nodded approvingly. You've done good work here. We've done good work. I learned everything from you. You learned the method. The heart was always yours. Sam squeezed his shoulder. I'm proud of you. Those 4 words hit harder than Owen expected. Thanks, Sam. That evening, Owen's mother called. I saw an article about your program. In the Reno Gazette. Yeah, Dr. Coleman arranged it. PR for the VA. They quoted you. You said something about loyalty being the foundation of healing. I was talking about the horses, and Max. I think you were talking about yourself. Maria's voice was soft. You're doing what your father always wanted, helping people. Being of service. Owen felt his throat tighten. I wish he could see this. I think he can. And I think he's proud. She paused. I'm proud too. I know I didn't say it enough when you were growing up, but I'm saying it now. I'm proud of the man you've become. Thanks, Mom. Have you heard from Rick? Owen had been expecting this question. No, and I don't plan to. He's doing well, apparently, in prison. Got his GED, joined a therapy group. That's good. I hope he keeps it up. He asks about you. I'm sure he does. Owen took a breath. But that doesn't change anything. He's got to do this work for himself, not for me. I understand. And she sounded like she meant it. I love you, Owen. I love you too, Mom. 6 months into the program, the first cohort graduated. All 10 remaining participants, 2 had left, but Marcus and Sarah and James and 7 others had made it through. Dr. Coleman organized a ceremony. Families came. The local press showed up. Even Sheriff Martinez attended. Owen stood in front of the group, feeling exposed and uncomfortable in a way combat never made him feel. I'm not good at speeches, he started, so I'll keep this short. When I came back from war, I thought I was broken beyond repair. I thought the best I could hope for was to survive each day without hurting anyone. Then I met Sam, who showed me patience. I met Max, who showed me loyalty. And I met horses who showed me that trauma doesn't have to be permanent. He looked at each participant. You all came here scared and hurting. Some of you wanted to quit. Some of you thought you were too far gone to save. But you stayed. You did the work. And now you're standing here as proof that healing isn't a destination, it's a choice you make every single day. Sarah raised her hand. Can I say something? Of course. She stood Ghost's lead rope in her hand. I came here wanting to die. That's the truth. I thought if I couldn't be the soldier I used to be, I wasn't worth being anything. But Owen taught me something. He taught me that strength isn't about being unbreakable. It's about being broken and choosing to keep going anyway. The other veterans nodded, murmured agreement. James stood next. My family didn't understand why I was so angry all the time. Why I couldn't sleep, couldn't connect, couldn't be present. This program didn't fix me. I'm still working on that. But it gave me tools. It showed me I wasn't alone. And it reminded me that asking for help isn't weakness. One by one, they shared their stories, their pain, their progress, their gratitude. By the end, Owen's eyes were wet. Dr. Coleman stood beside him. You've changed lives here. You know that, right? We changed lives. This was a team effort. Don't diminish what you've done. These people needed someone who understood their darkness and could show them light. That was you. After the ceremony, families mingled with horses. Kids pet Max, who tolerated the attention with patient dignity. Veterans hugged each other, exchanged numbers, promised to stay in touch. Owen was packing up when Rick appeared. He looked different, thinner, grayer, wearing civilian clothes that hung loose on his frame. He walked with a slight limp, probably from the leg injury. What are you doing here? Owen's voice was carefully neutral. Mom told me about today. About your graduation ceremony. Rick stayed several feet away, respectful of boundaries. I wanted to see what you'd built. You shouldn't be here. I know. But I needed to see you. Needed to... Rick's voice broke. Needed to see proof that people can actually change. Owen studied his brother. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that looked like genuine humility. How'd you get out? Good behavior, counseling, Completed the program. Rick pulled out a coin 1-year sobriety chip from Gamblers Anonymous. I've been clean for 14 months. No betting, no schemes, no shortcuts. That's good. I'm glad. Are you? Because you look like you want me to leave? Part of me does. Owen was honest. Part of me is still angry at everything you put me through. But another part? He gestured to the program around them. Another part knows that people can change if they want it badly enough. Rick's eyes filled with tears. I want it, Owen. I swear to God I want to be different. Then be different. Not for me, not for Mom. For yourself. I'm trying. I got a job at a construction company in Carson City. Real work, legitimate pay. I'm in therapy twice a week. Rick swallowed hard. I'm doing everything you asked me to do. Owen felt something loosen in his chest. Not forgiveness exactly, but maybe the beginning of it. That's good, Rick. Keep it up. Can I? Rick took a tentative step closer. Can I be part of your life again? Eventually? I don't know. Maybe. If you stay clean. If you keep working on yourself. Owen met his brother's eyes. But I'm not making any promises. You broke my trust completely. Earning it back will take years, not months. I understand. Rick pulled out a piece of paper, held it out. My sponsor's number, and my therapist's. If you ever want to verify I'm doing the work, call them. I've authorized them to talk to you. Owen took the paper, studied it. This was more than Rick had ever offered before: accountability, transparency, proof. I'll think about it. That's more than I deserve. Rick turned to go, paused. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. What you've built here, it's amazing. You're saving lives. I'm just showing people that healing is possible. That's the same thing. Rick smiled, sad and genuine. Goodbye, Owen. Goodbye, Rick. Owen watched his brother walk away, felt Max press against his leg. What do you think, boy? Can people really change? Max's tail wagged once cautious optimism. Yeah, maybe they can. That night, Owen sat on his porch with coffee and watched the stars. His phone buzzed Dr. Coleman. We've got 23 applications for the next cohort. Word spreading about what you're doing here. 23. Owen felt overwhelmed. I can only take 12. I know. But Owen, we want to expand. Add another therapist, take more participants. You'd still lead the program, but you'd have help. That's a big step. It's the next step, the right step. These veterans need what you're offering. We can't turn them away. Owen thought about Marcus in the field with a gun. Sarah crying into Ghost's mane. James learning to trust again. Okay, let's expand. Excellent. We'll start hiring next month. In the meantime, take a week off. You've earned it. Owen ended the call, felt something like peace. Sam called 5 minutes later. Heard you're expanding. News travels fast. Small community. Plus Dr. Coleman called me for a reference on potential hires. Sam's voice was warm. I told her she'd be lucky to find anyone half as good as you. You're biased. I'm honest. There's a difference. Sam paused. You've come a long way from the kid who showed up at my gate with a dog and no hope. I had some help. We all need help. The trick is accepting it when it's offered. They talked for another 20 minutes about horses and healing and the work that waited tomorrow. When they hung up, Owen sat in the quiet and realized something profound. He was happy. Not the shallow happiness of distraction or denial, but the deep contentment of purpose and belonging. He'd come home from war broken and lost, expecting nothing but survival. Instead, he'd found a dog who taught him loyalty, a mentor who taught him patience, horses who taught him that trauma could heal, and work that gave his life meaning. Rick had been right about one thing. Owen was a hero. Not because he'd fought in a war, but because he'd survived coming home and chosen to help others do the same. Max's head landed in his lap, warm and heavy. We did good, didn't we, boy? The dog's tail thumped twice, emphatic agreement. Owen stroked his ears, looked out at the canyon where wild horses ran free, and felt grateful for the path that had brought him here. The path that had started with a brother's betrayal and a dog's protection. The path that had led through desert canyons and dangerous men, through broken horses and broken veterans, through anger and forgiveness and the slow work of healing. The path that had taught him the most important lesson of all: strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every single time and choosing to keep fighting for something worth fighting for. Owen Carter had found his worth, and it was measured not in medals or accolades, but in the quiet victories of veterans learning to trust again: horses, remembering gentleness, and a dog who'd saved his life by simply refusing to leave his side. That was the truest form of loyalty. That was the deepest form of love. And that was enough.